Yeah, so welcome, Kathleen, again with our full
Hello.
moon Zoom, just to check in how the astrology is, organized right now, and yeah, how we can learn from it and especially also plan and work with it. So, well, just let's start with where we are right now with the full moon in Aries in Libra season and an eclipse season coming up. So I
Yeah,
think that's to discuss. So, well, tell us, what can we expect and where are we right now?
well, it's definitely a big full moon. It's like a really big moment in the year, actually. It's like one of these moments where it's a shift for many different kinds of reasons. We're going to get into the details of that, but it's a big fiery full moon because it's an Aries full moon. It's a seasonal change. The equinox has just happened a couple of days ago. There's an eclipse season coming up. So it's really like, there's a lot of stirring on a very kind of high level, kind of karmic, cosmic, in a kind of karmic and cosmic way. But we can just unravel it step by step. So let's start with the
Let's do that. Yeah.
before we get into the cosmos, let's just talk about the moon.
Yeah.
So it's an Aries full moon. What
Yeah.
is Aries? Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the first fire sign. It's basically the moment when life starts. So, and it's starting with fire, with super intense fire. So like it's this eruption of life that comes in such a like raw and powerful and intense way that it can become life. It's like this kind of energy that you have when you have a volcano erupting, or where you have like an orgasm, or when you have like a baby, coming into the world, this one last moment when it's just like, bah, it's coming out. So Aries is this kind of energy. It's very strong. It's very intense. And it has to be, because that's the only way to break through the world truly. So we have a full moon in that. So that is really something very potent, something very, very strong. And so it is in a way also a new beginning, of course, because it's the first sign, and because it's a cardinal point in the year. It's the equinox, so we start into the next kind of quarter. And I like to look at these things also very much in opposites. No, we have different kinds of cycles. So of course we have the last kind of new moon, the last 2 weeks that are one cycle, but also we have longer cycles. And if we look at the full moon in Aries, we look also at the new moon in Aries 6 months ago. And I think that's a very important thing to kind of look at, especially in this kind of axis, because that was the beginning, the new moon in Aries 6 months ago, and the full moon is a fruition. So new moon was the beginning of the beginning. We were like coming into a new cycle of 12 months, and we were becoming someone new. Aries is kind of the archetype of like the child, it's the youngest of all the zodiacs. So it's really like the one that, okay, let's go out, let's play, let's do something, let's be bold, let's be courageous, let's not be too concerned with could that work or not, or does everyone like it or not. It's just let's go, so it's kind of energy. And so we had this kind of like beginning in that energy 6 months ago. And so, we go and we do and we try and we play, and, sometimes we're scared because it's fire. So it's always Aries, as courageous and bold as it is, it's also very scared. Like fire goes, it goes, it comes back, it goes, it comes back. So now we are at a point, it's a very interesting point, because it's the fruition of our new self, right? New self that we were being born into 6 months ago, and now we're like completing. We are like kind of on the top of that. It's the full moon, so now we can look on the opposite side and we can say, okay, who is that person that I was supposed to become? So of course if I did do that steps in the last 6 months in order to become that person, I'm like, you know, super happy. And I see that and I'm feeling, you know, empowered and getting even more energy. But sometimes we, you know, we feel there is something that wants to be birthed, that wants to come into reality, but we don't really take those bold steps forward that are actually needed in order to become. And so this is the moment when we can become, like in this full moon, we can become a little bit like, you know, there can be a lot of energy. It's a fire energy. So it's a strong energy that is bubbling up, and we can become anxious and we become frustrated. And so it's definitely a call for action. It's really like, I'm now in the middle of my power when it comes to creating my new self. And who is it that I want to become right now? And am I actually doing the right things? Am I taking the right action? And if not so, let's do it now.
Yeah, so that's a very like fiery Aries energy. So, but we also are in like Libra season, and how I experience Libra is more of a little bit of a balanced, contemplative, like quality of time, right? So, how does it relate to this fiery energy that wants to go through with everything?
So it's exactly the opposite, exactly. So this is what a full moon is. A full moon is basically always an opposition between the sun and the moon, right? So if the moon right now is in Aries, then the sun is in Libra, no? And it's always, the oppositions are always very interesting to look at, because they're kind of like the two sides of a coin, no? So there seem to be oppositions, but I like to more use the word they're more complementary. So they're like complementing each other, and they're not like, I mean, they could oppose each other in a kind of low vibrational way of how to deal with these things, but truly it's the same, and we need to have a balance of both. And that's what this full moon also speaks about, because as you say, it is happening in Libra season. So Libra season has started a couple of days ago around the equinox also. And Libra season is about connecting. Libra season is about, you know, connecting to the other, becoming aware of like what the other one is, what the other one wants, how the other one feels. It's about creating balance. It's about creating connection. It's about becoming aware that I'm not the only one, that there are all the other peoples here in the space. And how can we actually balance the needs and the wants and the beings of everyone around us in order to really have a beautiful, harmonious togetherness, no? So Libra is exactly the sign that is balancing this kind of like boldness of Aries, who is like, let's just go, I don't care, you know, but it's the one that holds everyone in the back. And then Libra is there to says, okay, nice. So now let's see, look around left and right. There's other people. Let's create a balance. And so this full moon is asking us to create a balance between the me and the other. And now that is very personal, because some people, they are very much in the me, more on the Aries kind of side, and they are just doing their own thing, and they don't watch left and right, and they don't know what's going on. And so for them, it's a nice kind of balance a little bit more into the Libra, while of course there's others who are always just concerned with the other one. It's like, oh, is everyone okay? Is everyone feeling well? Have I considered all the other points of views? And they're just completely forgetting about themselves. And there's nothing wrong with a healthy sense of self. That is what Aries in a high vibration is really teaching us, that there is absolutely nothing wrong with a healthy sense of who I am, no? Because I am I am a divine manifestation. Each and every single one of us is here for a reason, in a very certain way, with a very certain energy and a very certain kind of purpose, no? So Aries reminds us of that. And both signs remind each other of the other one, you know? So the Aries always reminds the Libra to like, it's okay to take care of everyone's need, but you have to know who you are and what you are, what you came here to do. And the Libra is like, yeah, it's okay that you know what you came here to do, and now offer it to the others. So it's like this beautiful dance that is taking place on the axis between Libra and Aries. And it's a very important axis at the moment because we are moving into eclipse season. It's going to be a lot of activation in these two sides on that, in that kind of opposite dance.
Yeah, so because like, can you tell us a little bit more about the eclipse season that's coming up? And it's very interesting because what I've learned and known from the eclipse season is that it's for a certain amount of time, like I think like 2.5 years or something, that we have like eclipse season on a certain axis, so a certain theme that we can dance and play with actually. And right now it's on the, like, I think the north node is in Aries and south node in Libra. Yeah, so we have like, you can tell this, but it's like a certain amount of time we have to, well, we can play with this eclipse transformational energy, right? So explain to us, like, what can we expect and how can we play with it?
Yes, for sure. I'm happy to do that. It's a very, very, very interesting topic, actually. So the like eclipses happen around the lunar nodes. The lunar node, it's a physical, it's a spot in the space. It's not a planet, but it's an energetical point where the ellipses of the moon and the earth find each other. And when the sun and the moon are opposite to each other, close to that axis, then an eclipse happens. That happens twice a year. So twice a year we have eclipse season. It's always 2 or 3 eclipses behind each other. And the nodes are about like 1.5 years in one sign. So it's always the oppositions that they are working. And in ancient mythology, actually in quite different kind of cultures also, we find this beautiful picture of the lunar nodes being like a snake or a dragon, where one is the mouth of the dragon and the other one is the tail of the dragon. If you're familiar with the, like, you know, Indian, Buddhist, Hindu kind of expressions, then we also have the words karma and dharma. So the karma being basically something that it's all karmic. So these nodes are not like Mercury just quickly going and it's about a very personal. No, it's like very kind of, it's a karmic, very kind of spiritual, esoteric way of looking at astrology. And it's connected about different lifetimes, you know? So there is the dragon has basically the tail and the mouth. The tail is the karma. So that's the experiences that we have accumulated in our past lives. That's what they say. So it's a lot of energy that we have already had. It's a certain kind of way of being that we have already explored for many, many lifetimes. And we have a lot of experiences with that now, and we're ready to let it go. That's what karma means. Karma means that I have accumulated a lot of experience and now it's heavy on me, you know? So I want to let that go because why? Well, I'm ready for something new. Give me something new. Many lifetimes I have been, you know, I have been an artist. Many lifetimes I have been a healer. Many lifetimes I have been quick. Many lifetimes I have been slow, whatever, you know. At a certain point, it's ready to move on because the soul is on a journey and it's about experiencing all the colors that this material world has in store for us, right? So at a certain point, we just want to get rid of stuff. That's the south node. That's the tail of the dragon. And then there's the north node, which is the mouth of the dragon. That's like where the appetite is. That's where the hunger is. This is where the soul is. Oh, yes, I'm yearning for that. This is new. This is something that I don't know. I want to find out. It's like so exciting and it's sparkly.
So expansion, I think, like where the expansion happens.
So much expansion and so much excitement and also so much just completely not knowing. So south node and north node is also a little bit like being clumsy because I don't know yet, you know, like I don't know yet how that works. I don't have experience with being in a relationship, you know, so I'm a little bit clumsy with how do I do this because I have been without a relationship for so many lifetimes, or you know what I mean. So those are basically the now short story of those 2 points. So they're very interesting because they're telling us in our personal charts, they're telling us the way our soul is going. So I know where I come from and I know where I go to. But of course, also on a collective level, it's very interesting because every 1.5 years we're changing, no? And we're changing in a collective level, and we're like letting go of stuff that we used to do, and we're, you know, getting more of the stuff that we would like to have more experience in. And at the moment, like just right now, we are in between 2 signs. So we used to have the Taurus and Scorpio axis. In fact, we still have another Taurus eclipse coming up at the end of October. So we're like shifting the topics. And right now we're shifting exactly into the axis that we have talked about, the Aries and Libra axis. And we have the south node in Libra and the north node in Aries. So we have mouth of the dragon to the Aries and the tail of the dragon in Libra. So what does that mean? It means that we are collectively done with toxic relationship. We are collectively done with just being in relationship for the sake of being in relationship, for the sake of routine, for the sake of tradition, for the sake of it is that way. So we are now entering into 1.5 years where we are letting go of old relationship patterns, of toxic relationship patterns, where we are, you know, clinging on, you know, our partners in all ways, no, in romantic ways, in business ways, where we are clinging on the other, and we are favoring to become ourself. Like that is the mouse towards Aries, no? So this is really meaning like I become aware of my holy mission. I'm always talking about high vibrational versions. Of course, of course, you could also say, oh, that's so egoistic to not think about anyone else. And that's not the point. The point is not to completely forget that there's people around you, but it is about healing my relationship to myself now, to really become very much my new, higher, better version, and to first really get to know the color of my heart before I start to like, let's mix our colors. Oh, it's so beautiful, but you don't really know who you are, what, and the other one also doesn't know. So often we are having, when it comes to relationships, and this is not only romantic, this is very much also in the business life, that we are coming together. Everyone is traumatized, you know, everyone has bad experiences, everyone is afraid, everyone doesn't want to give and hold on or whatever, you know, so many toxic patterns can be in relationships. And then, you know, one traumatized person wants to partner with another traumatized person, and we have like, you know, patterns of trauma and post-traumatic kind of like compulsive behavior, trying to create something that doesn't work. And that's why it's really important to really come to myself, heal myself, my relationship to myself, my knowingness about myself, and also my, which I find personally very important, my awareness that I am complete. I don't need anyone else. It's not like a scarcity why I'm partnering. It's not because I feel I lack, so I want to have some from someone else. What we are collectively doing right now is becoming aware that I am complete, I'm perfect, and I am on a mission. And this is such a beautiful mission that we're on for the next 1.5 years.
So, and what I'm curious about, because, well, I've known the eclipse season and the purpose of it, like I think I've experienced it and experimented with it like since the Taurus Scorpio eclipse season, because I was aware of it. So I really played with it and looked at my personal life and how it correlated with some of the very deep themes in my system. Of course, it has also something to do with my personal horoscope. But what I find out is that if we know these kind of themes, we can even be more conscious of the way we behave on these kind of themes and really integrate it more. And also with the knowledge that we have now and what you have explained, like go even a layer deeper on the relationship level. So if that is with family, your partner, but also indeed with like business partners, like how am I equally in business or not equal, but then how can we build on essence instead of like indeed traumatized parts of ourselves. So I think it's a really beautiful like way to really research this a little bit deeper in the coming months, and especially in the eclipse season when it's all, well, I think that there will be a little bit more light on these kind of topics so that we can use that for the coming months to the next eclipse season, right?
Yeah, definitely. So we are basically now entering into this portal. This full moon is actually already setting the stage very, very strongly. The nodes are already activated. So the next new moon is going to be a south node eclipse. So it's going to be about, like, it's going to be the new moon in Libra. So it's going to be really about releasing old patterns of relating. It's about release.
Wow,
and it's
beautiful.
about it's often, you know, correlated with events that are happening. Like eclipses are really very, very high energetic moments in time, truly. Like in all the native indigenous cultures, the eclipses are really a time where people stay in, where they go in, where they don't do so many things, you know, where they are definitely not trying something new to go out and to push something. It's a time for just, especially the south node eclipses that are about release. It's really about just, you know, just be calm, just allow, you know, the cosmic waves to wash over you and to just cleanse you and to just let go, like allow what needs to be released to be released. There's nothing we need to really do about this. It's not about doing something. It's not like, oh, I need to do something right now. The only thing that we need to do is under schedule and be very compassionate about ourselves and just allow to go what wants to go and what needs to go. So this is something how we can really work with the south node eclipse that is coming up in 2 weeks, actually. Yeah,
Beautiful. So then, because we've talked already a lot, so I think it's good to have like a little bit of a summary for the coming 2 weeks. Like, so what is the main theme or the main question that we can work with this full moon? And then I think we sink down into the new moon again. Can I see it like that? So how can we prepare for the next 2 weeks with all the knowledge we have right now? What would you suggest to us?
I mean, generally, I think it's nice to be prepared now for about 1.5 months, or maybe even a little bit more of really allowance to do some inner work also, no, and to dive a little bit into not so much action but just more allowance. No, I think this is something very important to be aware of, you know. It's not time to push things here in at the moment, no. And I think the preparation for that is really, like, a good question is for the Aries full moon, who am I becoming? Like, what parts of myself are asking to be renewed? What parts of myself are calling for me to be taken out more into the obvious, you know, on the stage, maybe even, you know, what new endeavors have I already started to create or are actually waiting for me to be created. So it's really about connecting with my next version, my next, it's always me, no, it's just deeper. Like, it's not even higher, it's actually, we go deeper into ourselves to become a higher version of ourselves. So this is really the work that we can do to connect to ourselves and to watch, you know, for like events or situations that show me how am I relating, how am I actually how am I in my relationships, what am I expecting in my relationships, to be aware and to become aware of patterns that I'm having in the way I'm relating, and
beautiful.
really ask myself what can be just released and what can be renewed. And this does not mean that there has to be a new relationship. That's not the point. It's never about the other, by the way. Also, this I would like to very clearly say, like when stuff is coming up in these next like weeks, it's not about, oh, the other did something wrong. It's always just about showing something to me, reflecting something back to me. So I'm really inviting people to become aware of the subtle, maybe not so subtle, like eclipse can be also not so subtle events that are teaching me something about how I am in relationship to the other. And if there is maybe something that is in the way of me becoming the next higher version of myself.
Yeah, beautiful. And what I find also interesting, because in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going like really into wintertime right now. We're prepping for December 21st at the midwinter actually. So if we talk about like activities and going outward, and especially with this fiery energy, it can be very tempting, especially for myself, to really go really outside. Well, actually the energy is not really really for that right now. So what I also see is like, because we have now like having the autumn equinox, but I think this is also a perfect season to, in slow motion, prepare yourself for like the spring equinox. So the point where we can come out of the belly again, so that we can use this contemplative period, this phase of going inwards, research our relationship with ourselves, the way we want to present ourselves, to do the inner work in order to prepare ourselves to go out again later on. And then we have also this, I think, like this 6 months cycle of then with the new moon in Aries again. So I think it's also, if we're feeling like, okay, we're going not fast enough, then we can have a little bit of release, knowing the fact that within 6 months ahead of us, we have again a new moon in Aries. So it's also, if not now, then right? Or yeah,
of course, you know, I mean, it's like always, I love, because we always come back to the kind of same thing, you know, we are moving in cycles. So it is not possible to just run all the time. There's also a not run, you know, there's not possible to always just go out. There has to be a going in also, especially in these times that we are right now, because you know, like we are aware at this point, I think everyone, that we are in very, very interesting, very pivotal transitional times. So we are recreating the world at the moment, and we are recreating the way of being and the way of relating and the way of making business and the way of being in relationship with each other. No, so I find it so important to just do this in a very conscious way and listen to the truth of the nature that is teaching us, because we are too. So and the nature is teaching us that in order to go out, we need to gain strength. If I don't have a strong core, how can I go out? There's nothing to hold the outside and the inside. So right now the growth is happening, but it's happening. This is basically the equinox, not the fall equinox. We're falling from, like, the sun is in a fall right now. So we go into the underworld. We're going into the earth. Like we go with our sun, with our being into the earth, into our own self, into our own being, and we are becoming really strong in our core, really strong in our sense of who we are, what our purpose is, what we are trying to create in the world, all these things, you know. So there is a growth, there is a moving forward, you know. It's just also it's just not this kind of obvious, I'm building a palace right now, no, but I'm like becoming aware of what kind of palace it is that I want to build.
Beautiful, beautiful. So for now, I think it's a lot of information to contemplate a little bit, and for each of us that are listening, really contemplate also, like, what does it mean for me? We will put the questions, the beautiful questions that you gave us, underneath like the chat, in the chat, you know, so we can contemplate a little bit and work on it for the next couple of days. I think it's beautiful. And yeah, I think we see each other then with the really eclipse on the new moon.
Yes,
And
exactly. Into
yeah,
it.
yeah, beautiful. So is there anything you want to share or give us, or do you think like, I think it's
I mean, you know, with an Aries full moon, I'm just, you know, making always, I like to make my clients and the people I'm working with and all my environment to make them aware that, you know, it is very intense. It is like something that is also manifesting in the body. It is something that is manifesting, you know, we might feel it, no? That there's tension and there's like, you know, there's something that is inside that kind of wants to come out and move out. So it's really nice to just do some nice release work also, not
yeah,
to not to not act on impulse too much, no? If this is something that, you know, some people have an inclination to, like, generally a lot of fire and then a bit of fire is coming from outside. Well, a bit, not just a bit, quite some
yeah,
fires from the outside. So there is then also an inclination of just, you know, injuries or just kind of headless impulsive behavior. So I think it's good to be aware of this energy, and I think it's good to also become aware that we have the choice to release this energy, no, in conscious ways, no, of this is a kind of energy that if we are not expressing it, we're suppressing it, and then that's what depression in a way is. So it's important to take out this energy, you know, to work with this energy, to do body work, to especially the joints can be like affected at these times, to do body work and to create, because Venus is so activated right now. She's in a square to Uranus. It's like also very, very powerful aspect that is happening, you know. So it's always nice to just go into creation, to take it out to whatever is the creative channel that we're having in our at our disposal. Right now, it's really nice to experiment. Right now, it's really nice to be bold and courageous and to just go out and do something, you know, like to create something unusual, to go a little bit out of the comfort zone and use the energy also, you know, to
okay.
see yourself, like experience yourself in this nice high energy vibration. So I think it's a good time to do these kind of works and to these kind of experiments.
Yeah, beautiful. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Kathleen. And I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Yes,
And
same here.
well, we will contemplate a little bit and we see each other in a couple of weeks with the new moon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.